Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things we're talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. They'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. They'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Radio. We have arrived. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Happy Thanksgiving and Happy Hanukkah. Both of those are today. Start of Hanukkah. We also have Comet Ison coming in, and we're going to deal with Comet Ison quite a bit today, since today is the big day. Let's start off here with our cosmic weather, as we always do, looking at what the planets and the stars have in store for us. Here we see that our moon sign is in Libra. Our sun sign is in Sagittarius, so we have air and we have fire. Fire are ideas, the ideas that we have, the creative ideas, and Libra is all about balance, air, the words and the actions we speak to put the ideas into play. So we want these two things to work well together. We don't want to have so many ideas that we are overwhelmed and don't know how to communicate. So we want to make sure we get our thoughts focused. We don't want to have so much craziness in our activities and our words that we don't know how to fully express what we're trying to say. We want to work nicely together between the two, the fire and the air, so the air doesn't snuff out the fire and the fire doesn't snuff out the air, either or they don't create a bigger mess. Alright, we have here a square just in a little bit between Pluto and between Libra. This takes place just shortly after, well, just about 11 o'clock, 10:42 a.m., about that time that Ison is going through its perihelion. Alright, so let's go over here now to our moon phase, 23% full, making its way back down to the new moon. Mayan Oracle. We're at a three-tone day on the wave spell of the hand. Today is the day of the moon, guided by the Skywalker. So today would be the electric moon, guided by the Skywalker. The phrase is, I activate in order to purify bonding flow. I seal the process of universal water with the electric tone of service. I am guided by the power of space. Spaceweather.com. Solar wind is 280.2 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index is quiet, between the 0 and the 1. Nothing coronal hole-wise we need to be concerned about. And if we go down here, our M-class flare possibility has jumped up just a little bit. It was down to 1%, now we're up to 10. Geomagnetic storm activity is low, like it was as well. Here's the suspicious observer report for today.
Good morning, folks. We'll discuss the Ison Perihelion live hangout towards the end of the video, but first things first. All bright SOHO objects sprout wings. It's a light effect to the sensitive camera that includes comets, Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, Saturn, and Mars. Carl Badams of the CIOC gave a magnitude of -2 last night. We're at least double that brightness on SOHO since then. More on Ison in a moment. Quickly to South Korea. Apparently a problem with the turbine to shut down one of their reactors. All claims are of no danger to the workers or the public. Something interesting developing in the website forums. I'd like help gathering resources. 2011 interview describes pool number 4 at Fukushima as damaged, dry, incapable of containing inventory, aka the rods. Yet, they claim to be removing rods from number 4 right now. Something there is impossible, and it's best if we tackle the facts on this one so we can gain agreement and miss nothing. Is the rod removal a farce? Same buoy in event mode, minor jolts there at the location of the disturbance under the ocean. If this is the weakest rate of return you've seen for the measurement mission survey, that's about right. Lahar tremendously weakened as it struck the Indian coastline here. Other top weather watch is off a lesser remnants in Australia. We'll come back to world weather at the end, but here's the latest drought look before we begin to look at the stars again. Goes X-ray flux. No flaring. More than a momentary downturn. Since late 2011, we've described a solar magnetic shutdown where the sunspots decay facing Earth, fail to flare facing Earth, lose complexion upon entering the Earth-facing disk, and fail to live up to their magnetic classification. Fewer, weaker sunspots. This is one of the main points of climate number 3, where for the first time ever, it's not just SO and some other obscure reporters discussing the solar shutdown and potential next ice age. This was the experts finally jumping on board as the IPCC propaganda goes up in flames. Anyway, if I'd shown you these spots and you'd guessed the flaring was that low, I'd ask how you cheated. Even with beta magnetics not really mixing together whatsoever, we should have more than this. Probably need to classify this general grouping as gamma. We can't separate the polarity with a continuous line. I'm also watching the development in the center of the trailer. Trailing that trailer are the massive sunspots, already appearing to have complex morphology and mixing magnetics, just no flaring. Even without that flaring, we did have some small Earth-side CMEs. As you can see, these are not major, and indeed, they will either likely miss Earth or be of minor effect only. This is according to the Endel spiral. Calm solar wind, very calm, speed well under 300 kilometers per second. KP index shows that geomagnetic quiet. Quake watch score dropped from 7 to 4 yesterday due to lack of coronal hole power and blocking magnetic fields. We've had no big quakes since then. Around lunchtime in the eastern US today, we'll be doing the live Comet Ison Google Plus Hangout. It will be visible here on YouTube as well. Just like normal uploaded videos, it will just appear around that time. You can hop in and watch the live Perihelion show for Ison. We'll discuss the background facts and speculations, then watch it all go down. Eyes open. No fear. It's 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.
Alrighty. Lots going on today. Okay, so today you're going to get a full dose of Ison, because I've got lots of information on Ison. Got some other subjects as well, but today's Ison's day. So let's get to it. First piece here. This is a short piece. This is from BP Earthwatch. You've heard and seen lots of his videos, so I'm going to get him first. This is an update. Here we go.
November 28th, 2013. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Hanukkah. Hope everybody has a great day. We're looking at the latest image from LASCO C3. Ison's still approaching the sun. Here I have it filtered back. You still can't see inside that comet. It's too bright, guys. But this thing is so close to the sun as it's rising bright here in Mississippi this morning. Don't go out and stare at the sun and try to look at this. You would have to have special filters, things like that. Don't damage your eyes. But we've got the schedule on the SDO movement, and I had a lot of questions about that I noticed in the comments, and I'm going to show you that. But notice that classic white cross of this comet. That's oversaturation on the film, but it's a beautiful image. Now, again, this is what we're talking about, viewing Ison on SDO. And if you notice in the top right, they're going to start to move the cameras at 12:04 p.m. Eastern. That's 11:04 Central, 9:04 West Coast. Then they're going to be at the approach pointing site. Then at 1:09, they're going to start moving it up. It's going to start in the purple box in the bottom and go up, guys. You see that? And you can see we only have a couple of hours of the opportunity here in this window to see it on the SDO. And, of course, that's the most high-tech camera that we're able to use. And so it's going to be the best shots. And really, SDO has given us the best shots over the last few years of anything in space, if you ask me. The rest has been kind of kept private. But the guys at SDO have always done a great job. And we hope we don't jam that site up. I've seen it over the years when we do the links and we're watching some event that has happened. It's happened with LASCO. But, guys, this is the solar disk. And now nothing's rated as far as X flares, the triple configuration we needed. Most of it's beta, but we're watching that. Now look at this. This is how close Ison is, and that's the Earth in the foreground. Don't look at the sun now trying to see it. Now this was from last night. Check this out. It's coming in on our combo package, and you can see this. That's both got both the ion tail and the plasma tail on it. It's just going to get bigger and brighter as we go through the days. Now remember, this is last night. At just before midnight, I recorded this. I'm glad I did because it's jammed up now and we wouldn't be able to see the combo. But guys, it's a heads up. Be safe. We're going to update it. I'm going to be watching it live. Anybody watching it live, come over and comment on the channel. Share what you see. Be safe.
All right, so that gets the ball rolling there with Ison. We're going to continue on. I'm going to do, this is a Thor news piece, so it just seems appropriate to play something by Thor News because he's been making so many videos about this subject that this big Ison party is almost like a party for Thor News. So we got to play this to round out everything that's going on. All right, so here we go. Here we go.
This is a Thor News presentation. Thor News presents Comet Ison is awesome. We're going to take a look at her on all the NASA fleet cameras that we can. And then we're going to cook it. We're going to color it. We're going to heat it up. And we're going to play with it with my special programs. So we'll get to see it in a couple different spectrums. When I say spectrums, I mean just different colors. All right. I want to hear some funky Dixieland. Pretty mama gonna take me by the hand. By the hand. Oh, Ison, take me by the hand. Yes, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. We are at Perihelion, or Perihelion, since I've taken it upon myself to give Ison a female gender. Now I'm excited. She's looking quite beautiful. And as I predicted, all those reports that Ison had disintegrated were total BS. Bullschlangen. Bullschlacky. Bullshit, really. Ison is alive, and I got a feeling she's gonna make it through Perihelion. Isn't she pretty? It's cool. Comets are amazing. Often, when I mention it to normal people in real life, their response is like, is it gonna kill us? And I'm like, 99% chance, no. And they're like, why should I care about a stupid comet? And I'm like, well, I guess you're just like my dogs and my horses, and you have absolutely no interest in the stars and the heavens. That's fine, man. Different things for different idiots. I mean, different things for different folks. You know what I'm saying? Whereas other people enjoy other things. Man, I've fallen in love with this comet. I've bonded with this baby, and I hope she's beautiful. I really do. That's all I want. I want this comet to just be awesome. Where you look up and there's this magic dragon streaking across the sky with sparks and magic and wonders. It'll be like a spiritual divine intervention. I hope. Who knows? Well, Perihelion is about 22 hours away. On the 28th, I'm guessing Texas time, anywhere from noon to 3. We'll be watching on the SDO cameras and stuff and try and get out another episode tonight covering all the facts and stuff. I hope you have some turkey. Unless you're a vegetarian, then I hope you have some cheese. Unless you're a vegan, then I guess enjoy your bread and wine. I know, vegans allowed to eat grapes. Grapes can talk, so that means they're alive. So I'd be disgusted if vegans drank wine. Yeah, everything's pretty simple. I'm just showing you the latest beautiful new shots. Thor News presents Ison is beautiful, and she's on every camera in the world. Well, every NASA camera, really. Don't make me hypothecate your thoughts. I don't even know what that means. That's what she said, because I say a bunch of confusing stuff all the time. Well, I'm trying to get as fat as Buddha, because when you meet the Buddha, kill the Buddha. I said this to some guy last night. He got all offended. He's like, there's only one God. Buddha is not real. I was like, all right, dude. Okay. All right. Okay, yeah. Let's just throw out all that Eastern wisdom, shall we? I'm a samurai, so I gotta study from all schools, if you know what I'm saying. Man, wouldn't it be really cool if Ison could play rock and roll? So not only would she fly by looking gorgeous and magical, she'd be playing some grand rock and roll symphony that'd get us all dancing and imagining a brighter, better future. Because think about it, people. If we gave up war, it'd be so easy to fix everything on the planet real fast. And if everybody gave up blaming, everybody else, if everybody took equal responsibility for all the problems in the world, we could fix everything pretty friggin' fast, man. I don't know. I guess a lot of you guys, a lot of other people addicted to status quo. Well, what can I do about that? I don't know. I'm going to keep thinking, right? Thanks to everybody for watching. Thanks to everybody for being kick-ass. Thanks to all the awesome people throughout history who have helped build and discover everything that we have today. And from the bottom of my heart, I apologize the way the early settlers treated the Indians. Ugly genocide. Man. Oh, 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 oh. May God and the Great Spirit bless everyone, always, forever. Yep. Man, you know what? I have mentioned that I really want to cuddle. Like, way too much. I think the more I mention it, the less my chances are that I'm going to get to cuddle. But here's the deal, man. I feel like I've had almost superpowers of productivity in 2013. So maybe it is better if I do have to save Earth for me not to cuddle till 2014. If that's the case, I need to set it up to where I am cuddling the very first second of 2014. Because I definitely deserve it. I'd say I'm a champion, but you know what? That would make me sound like an arrogant asshole, so I will not say I am a champion. Alright. Ison makes me feel so fresh and so clean. Hey, did you notice that as Ison was entering the frame, the sun shot out a coronal mass ejection that looked just like a scorpion tail? Now, I love all animals, but I am not the biggest fan of spiders and scorpions. So this is neither here nor there, but in metaphor, it is everywhere. Okay, one thing I forgot to point out in my video, because I assumed you were a regular Thor News watcher, so you are educated and updated. But, seeing as how the story is just now getting popular, you might be new. And the other comet you see near Ison is Comet 2P Enki. It's a periodic comet. It's got a 3 to 4 year orbit. And it's pretty neat to see two major comets together so close in the inner solar system. An anomaly? Unprecedented? Who knows? Use whatever words you want, man. Still a free country. Asterisk. And right now we are looking at the Comet Ison 2013.co.uk website. And at 2:43 p.m. on November 27th, it says there's only 21 hours, 54 minutes, and 24 seconds till Perihelion, which is due to occur 28th November at 1837:45 Universal Time Code. Right now she's traveling at 156. Right now she's traveling at 564,000 kilometers a minute, or 350,507 miles per hour. Keeps going up, so I can't actually get the time accurately. And remember, Comet Ison reaches perihelion tomorrow, Thanksgiving, and then it reaches Terra, which is closest to Earth, on Christmas. This is a special comet, the holiday comet. So let's use our holy days wisely, shall we? Head out on the inner solar system highway, looking for some action. See it wasn't no distraction. Hey, what's behind Jupiter? Alright, God bless everybody. Have a fantastic Thanksgiving. And thank y'all for being awesome. Thank y'all for watching. And I hope Comet Ison brings deep space magic. I love you guys. Later.
Alright. Good stuff from Thor News. Good stuff. Alright, let's move on. UFO News is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
Alrighty. Thanks, Dirk. Let's get to our UFO News. Today we have 4 stories. Story number 1. Alright, it comes to us from UFO sightings.daily. Alright, this is dealing with, says more SOHO NASA evidence that Comet Ison is an alien craft with wings. Now, we just talked about the wings that these things are part of what happens when it gets close in like this in the brightness. However, it doesn't mean it's always the case. So these photos of Ison were taken this week, and yes, indeed, they show Ison does have something to its left and to its right side. Wing-like objects are seen on the SOHO images. As you see in the images below, we have reported UFOs orbiting around Ison and even long wings off both of its sides. Remember these pictures here? And of course, you remember this image that we saw. This one allegedly comes from a a satellite, a Chinese satellite. Okay, if that's the case, we certainly see that something is guiding that. All right. And that's what we've got for this report here. So we'll find out soon enough what this is all about. Okay, moving along, we're going to head over to Cartagena, Spain. It says new interesting footage of a bright object hovering above the sky of Cartagena, a major naval station located in the region of Murcia by the Mediterranean coast, southeastern Spain. This was taken on the Wednesday, the 27th, just the other day. Alright, there's a nice, bright, shiny one. Seems to be in place. This little better image there. Video itself is 1 minute 41 seconds in length. We certainly definitely have some shining activity going on. What it is, not certain. Look like we have multiple objects according to this, 3 objects. Check out the link, see what you think. Moving on. Alright, historic UFO audio archive dating back to 1940s recovered. A historic UFO archive documenting the beginning of the modern UFO era has been made available online. The archive was compiled by Wendy Connors and Roderick Dyke and rediscovered and made available online by Isaac Coy and Giuliano Markinovic. Connors spent several years in the U.S. Air Force working in communications before settling down in Albuquerque, New Mexico. She had an interest in UFOs and in particular the Air Force official investigation into the matter. She was a founding member of the Project Sign historical group, which brought together people related to the Air Force's UFO investigation program. Over the years, Connor began collecting audio clips from some of the most important interviews of the time. She called her project in to preserve these audio clips, faded discs. The clips included comments from the administrators of the U.S. Air Force UFO investigation projects, researchers, and other notable people, such as astronauts, actors, and presidents, who had something to say about the topic. She painstakingly remastered the audio so it could be presented for posterity. Some of these interviews include Kenneth Arnold, the pilot who had a very important UFO sighting that ultimately served as the impetus to the Air Force's entrance into UFO research. There are clips from J. Allen Hynek, the astronomer who first served as the U.S. Air Force's debunker, but eventually turned into a proponent for serious scientific research of UFOs. There are clips from many military witnesses and some of the key people involved with some of the important early cases. Although there was a disagreement about the nature of the phenomena as there is today, the UFO subject was taken much more seriously when it first caught the attention of the public. Serious civil debate took place among very credible people, and some of these debates can be found in these files. Markinovic and Coy have been working on archiving important UFO files and disseminating them among UFO researchers. We have posted their discoveries on openminds.tv before. Markinovic said Connor's faded disc compilations were very hard to find and took him a few years to locate them all. Take some time and download the files. Listen to them. They are fascinating and informative. The work of archivists such as Connors, Dyke, Coy, and Marinkovic are very important. If not for their work, an important part of history could be lost to obscurity, and I, for one, am very grateful for the work they do. Alright, and here we have the link that will take you right to the site where you can go download it. Very good information to have. And the very last story here, this is a rare interview. Project Blue Book was one of the series of systematic studies of unidentified flying objects conducted by the U.S. Air Force. It had 2 goals: to determine whether UFOs were a threat to national security and to scientifically analyze UFO-related data. By the end of Project Blue Book ended, it had collected 12,618 UFO reports. A small percentage of these reports were classified as unexplained, even after stringent analysis. The UFO reports were archived and available under the Freedom of Information Act, but names and other personnel information and all witnesses have been redacted. Every time I read something about Project Blue Book, what jumps out to me is the open acknowledgement by the American government that UFOs are real. They never attempted to hide the fact that UFOs were in our skies. They just wanted to know where they were from, and in typical government military fashion, if they posed a threat. I suspect that even if the government came out today and told the population of the world that UFOs are very much real, some people would have to see and touch one before they believed it. So here's a short interview with his Lieutenant Colonel Tacker and Major Quintanilla. Listen to this. It's a short piece. Here we go.
The United States Air Force, in discharging its responsibility for the aerospace defense of the nation, is called upon to investigate reports of unidentified flying objects. Two Air Force officers have over the years been very closely associated with this activity. Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence Tacker was formerly the chief spokesman for the Air Force on the matter, and Major Hector Quintanilla is now the chief of Project Blue Book. Major Quintanilla, what are the objectives of Project Blue Book?
The objectives of the program are twofold. They're the same as they have been since 1953 when the regulation was written. First of all, to try to determine if the UFO phenomena presents a threat to the security of the United States. And second, to determine if the UFO phenomena exhibits any technological advances which could be turned into research and development.
What's the record so far?
To date, we have over 10,000 cases at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, of which 646 of these remain unidentified. That's not to say that we could not have identified more cases if we had gotten to the observer quickly and checked the local activity.
The Air Force has been accused from time to time of hiding information about UFO. What do you have to say to that, Colonel Tacker?
Well, these charges are absolutely untrue. Actually, the United States Air Force releases statistics on the UFO phenomena through the Department of Defense press desk periodically, and we've always honored accredited media when they want to investigate a given specific sighting.
There's nothing to hide.
There's nothing to hide at all.
Is there anything in the files, either classified or unclassified, that would indicate that there may be extraterrestrial visitors over here?
First of all, the project is completely unclassified. And there is nothing in the records which would indicate that we have been visited by any advanced civilization.
How does the Air Force look upon people who make reports of UFO? Do they look on them as qualified observers?
Yes, they do look on them as qualified observers. Actually, most people who report a UFO sighting are patriotic citizens who have been mystified by something that they've seen, and through a patriotic sense, report it to the local law enforcement officials or to the United States Air Force Base near them.
What would you consider as a person qualified to interpret what he sees?
Well, I consider astronomers are genuinely expert in their field. First of all, they have a tremendous advantage over the other physical scientists, and that is that they have powerful telescopes and photographic equipment to confirm their interpretation.
Do astronomical laboratories make any contribution to the UFO program?
In a negative way, they do, because I've never received a UFO report from an observatory.
Not a one.
Not a single one.
Well, how about the tracking and detection facilities that the Air Force itself has? How does this fit the program?
Well, actually, to begin with, the United States Air Force is charged by an act of Congress with the air defense of the United States. And the North American Air Defense Command and the Air Defense Command have space tracking facilities which are constantly on the alert 24 hours a day. We're interested in anything that flies in our atmosphere.
Well, how about UFO reports in other countries? How are they handled?
Well, UFOs actually occur worldwide. However, the United States is the only country in the world that places as much emphasis on the phenomenon. Other countries place a burden of proof on the observer and not on their Air Force.
And that would make your job a lot easier if they did that here.
Yes, it would.
Thank you, Colonel Tacker, Major Quintanilla. I would like to close by reading a very brief excerpt from the report of the Air Force's Scientific Advisory Board, which they made recently upon completing a detailed review of the subject of UFO. This is a statement. The committee concluded that in the 19 years since the first UFO was sighted, there has been no evidence that unidentified flying objects are a threat to our national security.
Okay, so remember that as you hear all the Hollywood movies that go on and on about all of the dangers being posed by extraterrestrials, the last report, the thing you hear, There was no danger. It's all perceived. It's all perceived. All right, there you go. That's UFO news. I've got a bunch more information, including a lot more on Ison, so stay tuned.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid.
All right, continuing on. So this first story here I wanted to bring up because it is something that the other day I noticed and some friends noticed as we were watching and flipping through the news channels. You notice how, like, the media has a way. Okay, I like to think of the media as two sheepdogs. You got the right and the left, and they're continually moving the sheep where they need to go. And they tell the stories for the right and the left, the Republicans and the Democrats, and they tell you this story to move you along. Well, first, when Obamacare came out, you could tell there were those that were against it in the media and that there were those who were for it. But now that it's gone through its paces and its challenges, as you start to listen to the media, the stories are changing a little bit. They're telling you stories because they want you to sign up, okay? And so, as we know, the scripts go through all of the major medias, and they all get on board with the same stories. That's how it works. You know, we know that by now. And so, is Obamacare on the rebound? Media turn to positive stories. Positive headlines are creeping into news coverage of Obamacare amid a Democratic counteroffensive and signs to a program could be turning a corner, but tough tests lie ahead. Bit by bit, the media narrative around the travails of Obamacare and its main enrollment vehicle, healthcare.gov, is starting to look up, or to put it more precisely, is no longer so crushingly negative. After weeks of stories about website crashes and canceled health plans and extraordinary mea culpa from President Obama, a competing storyline is starting to emerge. Slowly but surely, people are navigating the exchanges and getting insurance for some cheaper and better than what they had. Last week, the New York Times and LA Times touted a surge of enrollment numbers, especially states that have their own exchanges. This week, Washington Post story described most in Obamacare nirvana, people in rural Kentucky lining up and getting coverage, some for the first time in their lives. Again, this is another way for the sheeple to get pushed around, right? So either way, they're going to shove this Obamacare down your throat, whether you like it or not. And the media, well, they're going to do what media always does. They have no loyalty, okay? They are going to first tell you it's bad, and then they're going to convince you that it's good. And that's what they seem to be doing right now. All we have to do is pay attention and watch. You'll see the push they're making, and you'll start to wonder and remember. And a couple weeks ago, these same jokers were telling us that there were problems with this, and now they seem to be painting like it's such a great thing. It's just the same story. They're just trying to push on something to you. We just have to not buy into it because lots of tricks, you know. First you don't succeed, try again. So they have lots of tricks up their sleeves. Just because they try one doesn't mean that they aren't going to try others. And when we just look at the Obamacare website, look, the main thing is to know high school kids can build websites. Okay? You get a group of high school kids together, they can make very complicated websites. So all the nonsense they had with the Obamacare website, that can't be real. We live in a country where there's Amazon, and there's the Facebooks, and the MySpaces, and all the places that deal with lots of people. There's zero excuse for not being able to build a e-commerce website. And the fact that they can't, well, there's something more than meets the eye. So we don't want to get fooled by that. And now we could see that the media is jumping on board to help. Because remember, the media are just two sheepdog. They're guiding, moving you forward. If you get too far this way, they push you back. Get too far the other side, and that's all that they're doing. All that they're doing. All right, so let's jump away from that. Let's jump over to Ison. It's a little bit more interesting. So what we've got here, first place I'm going to take you to is this Perihelion and distance live information. It says there are only 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 43 seconds until the Perihelion of Comet Ison. Okay, we can see where it's moving right now. It's 522, 906 miles per hour. Distance from the sun, 3,017,000 miles. You see what constellation it's in, Scorpio. That magnitude at this point in time is negative 402. Alright, so all the stuff you want to know, and then of course here's Ison's trail. It's coming around the sun here today, and then it's going to make its way back up. Okay, and so as it makes its way back up during this phase here is when we're going to be able to see it again real clear. So if it makes it past perihelion, we're going to have a nice Christmas time show. Okay, now in case you're wondering about this number here, the visual magnitude, what that's all about, I want to jump over here. I pulled up a chart for you. This is the astronomical magnitude scale. The scale below is given as an instructive tool to give a general idea how the magnitude scale works. The scale below is intended to be roughly visual. The human's eye dark adapted detection efficiency peaks around 495 nanometers, while the formal photoelectric V peak, which is a filtered band intended to be close to visual, is around 550 nanometers. CCDs tend to peak around 700, and then the examples are given for all the different. Okay, so here we could see the different scales that we're looking at here. So this -4, as we could see, it's like just saying planet Venus is a -4, that we can see it. It's that bright. Our sun is listed as a -26, and the crescent moon, or even the full moon, or we see up to the 6 or the 13 range. So they're saying that this thing could get as bright as the full moon if it passes and makes it past perihelion. So that could go from a 4, that's like 3 times as bright as it is right now. So that could get pretty bright. So there's a scale just so you can kind of see what's going on there. If we go over to this timeline, I showed you this timeline the other day. The thing that was interesting about it was this was the timeline that keeps changing, and here we have at least 1 million years ago is now the date. It was 10,000, it was 400,000, it was 518,000. Now it's at least 1 million. Number keeps going up. So now they're saying this is the first time it's taking a trip through the solar system. Again, we've heard so much information about this. What's real, what's not, I don't know. But we're going to find out together, and we're going to find out in just a short while as it makes its pass. Now, we've certainly heard many different versions about what could go on. We certainly know the aspects, the physical aspects that we've heard about, the electromagnetics, whether or not something is going to be affected in our solar system with our satellites, whether or not we're going to have any Earth movements because this thing's going through. Lots of speculation. Then the other day, I played a piece for you about possible positive effects that come from this. And that's what I am contending is something that we need to turn our attention to. In the same way that we look at what is going on as a spiritual battle that's taking place, we need to understand that the aspects of life and the different events like this are all part of that spiritual battle. We need to look to the spiritual side of things. So this article speaks to that. It says Comet Ison and the Unity Consciousness. Comet Ison has long passed our solar system doorstep. You can see it in the sky now, and it is coming closer to the sun. Today, it will fly just a few thousand miles above the surface of the sun, essentially through the sun's atmosphere. This is definitely an existential challenge for an icy comet, so we will all hold it in our hearts. Metaphysically speaking, comets are the light bearers. Our Comet Ison comes right on schedule. In December 2012, Gaia, the host of Earth, pulls out the second position, ending the mothering of humans. In March 2013, Pi fully enters the planet and activates the energies of self-responsibility, pleasure, and dynamic aliveness for humans. In November 2013, the blue star comes to activate the awakening of our humans to spiritual adulthood. Comet Ison is the blue star that was awaited by the Hopi. They called it Kachina, and the Maya elders for millennia said that it would be the bringer of extraterrestrial life, the completer of spiritual childhood of human race. Now, since we know that it is not going to crush into the earth, it sounds like prophecies are wrong. No, they are not wrong. It is that the extraterrestrial life has nothing to do with the typical Hollywood-type aliens. It has to do with the activation of the starseed consciousness on Earth, so that our solar system can be welcomed into the galactic family. The galactic family is the brotherhood and sisterhood of light. The enlightened beings who work with the Solar Council and the planetary and the solar elders, which we call ascended masters, humans who went through the process of enlightenment. The brightness of Comet Ison is linked to the consciousness development on Earth. The Solar Council of enlightened beings who oversee the development of the solar system was expecting a much more impressive show than what we are getting. The reason for it is us humans. When Pi traveled to this planet, we were all energetically instructed to take responsibility for our actions, to grow up into spiritual adults. This is so no matter if beings want it or not. It was assumed that there would be more conscious people on Earth by then, or at least more aspiring to be conscious. Instead, majority of humankind is still needing time to grow. That is okay, but this also means that the process of changing into adulthood will take more time. This is why Comet Ison had to be toned down by changing its path a little bit. As it goes through the sun's atmosphere, one of the three things can happen. It can burn up completely, it can break into pieces, then it will be brighter than ever, or it can survive but become diminished and travel through the solar system with a visibly bright tail. From the time of Atlantis, there were two major mystery schools on Earth, the Red Dragon and the Yellow Dragon. The Red Dragon represents the schools of metaphysical knowledge, light, individuality, and self-building. The Yellow Dragon represents the schools of devotion, love, connectedness, and selflessness. Human beings always had the choice of these two schools of metaphysical, spiritual knowledge. But in truth, there is a third school. It was hidden over a very long period of time because it relates to the star seeds, to the enlightened beings who support Earth but are not of the Earth. This is the mystery school of unity consciousness, where individuals of the self come together with the connectedness of the whole. This is the true individualized oneness, where we see ourselves as fractals of the universe of hologram. Hologram is a condition upon which the information for creating the whole system is stored in each of its parts. A hologram is a pattern that is whole and complete in itself. Our planet, the genetic code in our bodies, our universe are all holographic in nature. So this third mystery school of individualized oneness, or the unity consciousness, is what Comet Ison is here to activate. Okay, you can see there's a lot more to the article. But again, as we understand and we look at the cosmos and we think of the concept as above, so below, we're reminded that what we see up in the cosmos is also something that's taking place within us on a spiritual level. Okay, so we need to relate these things, not just look at the physical. We want to look at the spiritual meaning as well. This is a big event that's going on, and if this passes through, we're going to have quite a spectacular December and a holiday season that's going to take place. Christmas is going to be quite interesting, almost like the Star of Bethlehem shining all over again. Alright, so today's Thanksgiving here in America. This article is from the New American. It says, although many holidays have brought international appeal, Thanksgiving, arguably America's second favorite holiday after Christmas, is celebrated only in the United States and Canada. What originated as a sort of harvest festival amongst British colonists in the New World has taken on a life of its own. No longer is Thanksgiving a mere celebration of the harvest. It has become a symbol of the oft-neglected virtue of gratitude. In hindsight, it is not surprising that a day consecrated to gratitude for the blessings of Providence should have arisen amongst the predominantly pious, hard-pressed early American colonists. Most of them had chosen the austerities of life in the American colonies over the drab certainties of the stratified old world. Here, there are no manorial lords to provide lodging, substance, and protection, and no ossified aristocracy to perpetuate the feudalism of their ancestors. Compared with much of Europe, the climate of the northern colonies was severe and their great risks great. Many of the people who chose the hazards of the New World did so because they wanted freedom, religious, economic, and political, more than they wanted security affected by the European governments. So, as we go through this, I think it's important, and the reason it brings up the idea of liberty is Thanksgiving is about gratitude, what we're grateful for. And here in the United States of America, liberty is something very important to us. We should be grateful for the liberty that we have had, and we should not take for granted the liberty that is available to us because, well, it's slipping away. It's slipping away when Americans don't understand the basics of their own country. When Americans still tell you that we are a democracy, liberty is slipping away. Because Americans need to know that we are a republic. We were never set up as a democracy. And every time somebody is repeating that lie, all they're doing is they're passing on bad information. So next time you hear a politician or a news person or a friend or a family member tell you about this being a democracy, please stop them and politely tell them, no, this is not a democracy. Democracy is not in the Constitution of the United States. It was not in the minds of the founding fathers. A republic is what we have, ruled by law. A democracy is where you have the majority of people decide on what's going to happen. Mob rule, majority rules. But republic is a rule by the law. And rule by law is what keeps and protects people from democracy, from mob rule. If we didn't have this republic in place, there'd be a lot of problems. Now, over the years, a lot has been taken away, and a lot of things behind the scenes that have been hidden. So the liberties we have and the Constitution that we follow, well, it's kind of changed. And most people don't realize that it's changed. It's been swapped out in 1871. The Act of 1871 changed that when the United States of America became a corporation. Again, most Americans, not just most, all Americans should know this. We should know that we're a republic, not a democracy. We should know about the Act of 1871. We need to know about these important things because it's part of what our founding fathers set up. And so many Americans in this country, our past, have gone on and they've fought for the ideals of this country. So let's not let those ideals die because we've forgotten what they are. Let's remember those who came before us and fought so hard to preserve these things. And let's keep the liberty alive in this republic that we have. Let's not let that go down. So let's use today to really be grateful and find the things to be grateful for in the world, where we live, in the country we have, in what we've created. And let's be grateful that we have within ourselves the strength and ability to keep those freedoms alive, not let them die. That would be a shame. We'd all be very sad if we allowed that to happen, and we'd be wondering how we got there. Because most people don't want to see bad things go on like that. They really don't. Now, in addition to Thanksgiving, today is also Hanukkah. So I pulled up this site here. It just has some basics about what Hanukkah is all about. See here, it's Thursday evening. We have the lighting of 2 candles on the menorah. We get the basics all about Hanukkah, what it is. We go over here. What is Hanukkah? Let me just go and give this. It says Hanukkah is the 8-day festival of lights that begin on the eve of the 25th of the Jewish month of Kislev. So today is there. It celebrates the triumph of light over darkness, of purity over adulteration, of spirituality over materiality. More than 21 centuries ago, the Holy Land was ruled by the Seleucids, or the Syrian Greeks, who sought to forcibly Hellenize the people of Israel. Against all odds, a small band of faithful Jews defeated one of the mightiest armies on earth, drove the Greeks from the land, reclaimed the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, and rededicated it to the service of God. When they sought to light the temple's menorah, the 7-branch candelabrum, they found that only a single cruse of olive oil that had escaped contamination by the Greeks. Miraculously, the 1-day supply burned for 8 days until the new oil could be prepared under conditions of ritual purity. To commemorate and publicize these miracles, the sages instituted the festival of Hanukkah. At the heart of the festival is the nightly menorah lighting, a single flame on the first night, 2 on the second evening, and so on until the 8th. Okay? So that's the basics of Hanukkah. There's a lot at this site so you can go through. And I think it's important. Look, we've all lived many, many lifetimes. Okay? So at some point in time, we've all had an opportunity to be Jewish, be Christian, be Catholic, be Muslim, be all these different religions. We've all had this opportunity. So when these moments come up, we should take time to honor the different spiritual traditions that we have, because some way or another, we've all been a part of them, and they influence us all. So I think it's a good thing. So happy Hanukkah for all around the world today, as well as happy Thanksgiving, happy Gratitude Day. So in light of all of this, I thought today would be a good day for laughing. See something funny, right? Something funny than all the seriousness. And I found this site here, and well, I just couldn't stop laughing after I saw this. I want to share this with you. It says 35 pictures of the most turbable dog in the world. Okay. Now, when I was looking at these pictures, I could actually hear the owners laughing along with this, and you'll see what I mean. These are hilarious. Here we got this dog just sitting there. First, you got the pizza on the head, right? But then it gets funnier as it goes along. Okay, you can see they're having a good time with the dog here. There we go. We got the old tire. We got the stack of donuts. And look how good-natured this dog is. It just sits there. And of course, the record on the head. Yeah, this dog definitely is very good-tempered. And of course, very well behaved not to go after the donuts there. Doesn't like bacon, though. Dog doesn't like the bacon. Right? And you can imagine that the owners are having a good time just laughing it up about all that's going on here. Alright, that's the dog's treat for later. Alright, pretty funny, huh? A little Thanksgiving humor. Alright, of course we got the asparagus on the head, very important. Alright, very, very funny. Alright, this dog has a future as an entertainer, balancing things on his head. Look at that. And of course the long chopstick teeth. Alright. There you have it. Those are the dog, alright? Something to make you laugh. Nothing serious about that at all. But hey, we all need to be able to stop and laugh at a dog that's doing funny things, right? Alright. So, here's a piece here. It's about meditation. It says, can meditation increase synchronicity? Well, you're talking to a friend and there's a pause in the conversation. You break into the silence by saying that what just popped in your mind. Your friend responds with, no way, I was thinking the exact thing. You stumble upon a friend's number in your address book and you decide to give her a ring to see how she is. She picks up the phone and shares that her grandmother just died and she really needs your support. You reached out to her at the precise moment that she was seeking comfort. Events like this have small probability of occurring, yet they still happen. Some would call them coincidences, but I encourage you to think differently. The focus of this post is on the phenomena called synchronicity. The subjective truth is synchronicity. Here we go. So synchronicity is related to probability because synchronous events usually take place between two people, and they are rare and unplanned. Scientific study of them is few and far between, but it doesn't matter that they are outside our experiences. We find proof of synchronicity in our lives and by listening to the experiences of others. In fact, sharing our synchronous experiences are a powerful way to reinforce their validity. The chance of something out of the ordinary taking place between two people is minuscule, yet it happens. So the point of this article is about meditation and synchronicity. Can it increase it? Well, absolutely it can. And as you read through the rest of the article, it will speak to that account. But as we do the meditations, what we're doing is we're tapping into a part of ourselves that is a very important part. It's that underground part of ourselves that has a big voice, kind of like if we think of the iceberg sticking out of the water. There's a little portion of us sticking out of the water, our conscious mind, but the unconscious part of ourselves is still greatly underwater. It's not seen. So when we go into meditation, we're accessing that unseen part of ourselves, and as we access it, we're making more connections to allow us to be able to be more in tune with things, to pick up energies around us. So all we're doing in synchronistic moments is we're simply just picking up on something, a message, a communication that's taking place on a subtle level. And because we've developed that muscle, so to speak, the meditation muscle, because we've developed that, we've tightened up that ability to understand that communication. And so we're picking up different signals. It all is all that's really going on. The more we meditate, the more we're able to pick up more signals of things around us. It's just a simple procedure like any other skill. It's just learning how to expand our ability to communicate more, whether it's hearing more or speaking more for others to hear. It's just about extending our communication. All right, here is a message. This is the message today from Jesus. Always good to hear what Jesus has to say. Here we go.
Jesus, your magnificent and most wondrous awakening was divinely planned.
November 21st, 2013, by John Smallman.
In the spiritual realms, all is prepared for humanity's grand awakening. Nothing can prevent it. Many of you worry about the seemingly vast numbers of humans who remain totally unaware of their spiritual origin and who, it would appear to you, cannot therefore possibly be awakened, especially those who are consumed with hate, bitterness, resentment, and mistrust. Well, what you light-bearers, way-shores, and loving souls have been doing is preparing them, all of them, for this fantastic moment of spiritual enlightenment. You have all been powerfully and constantly intending for them to awaken into an awareness of their divine and spiritual roots, and that loving intent is extremely effective because, of course, it is fully and mightily supported by God, the loving source in whose embrace all are permanently upheld. Lack of awareness of this embrace in no way reduces its power or effectiveness. Humanity's awakening is going to happen, and your joy will not be surreal, it will be real. Amazing, astounding, and glorious. As we in the spiritual realms keep telling you, because you do have difficulty holding the concept firmly in your minds, you most definitely and eternally are divine beings having a very limiting and short-lived human experience. Yes, I know it seems to go on and on and on. Just keep reminding yourselves that time is part of the illusion, especially when it is passing very slowly and painfully for you. Remember that somewhere someone else is having a happy experience and time for them is racing by far too rapidly. How long is a day, an hour, a minute, a second? It depends on what you are experiencing as it passes. Although it does indeed seem that the illusion has existed for eons, maybe even since before the Big Bang, it has only really existed for but a tiny moment in your minds, and that will become apparent when you awaken and find it gone. Reality, God, the source of all that exists, love, is eternal, everlasting, timeless, a constant present or now moment in which all of creation is forever ongoing. Words cannot give an explanation that is in any sense at all adequate to describe the forever now moment in which all of creation has its eternal existence. Consequently, when you awaken, you will be magnificently astounded by what your awakened and fully engaged conscious awareness brings so wonderfully to your enraptured attention. In the spiritual realms we do nothing half-heartedly, everything is engaged in with enormous and vital enthusiasm, nothing is just okay. How could anything in God's divine reality, the only reality, be just okay? Or even okay? The wonder of reality, which is eternally fully conscious and aware, awaits your awakening with intense and excited anticipation, because your astonishment and delight will wondrously delight all of us who are reality, and to which every and all aspects of consciousness are forever unbreakably connected. Although time as such is illusory, we know how long it seems to you that you have been waiting to awaken, remember, and experience the wonder that is the real you. And as you have been repeatedly told, there will be no disappointments. God cannot and would not wish to disappoint anyone. Disappointment is very definitely illusory, utterly unreal, and totally inconceivable, as is anything that is not in perfect alignment with love. And all that appears misaligned, unloving, or unaccepting will dissolve instantly behind you as you awaken. Your magnificent and most wondrous awakening was divinely planned and orchestrated at the very moment of your apparent separation, so that there would be no gap, no break in your conscious awareness of who you truly are, while at the same time giving you unlimited freedom to explore and experience the severely limiting environment that you had conceived of and constructed in which to play the games that you wished to play. Limitation was a seemingly great idea. Divine beings with unlimited, in fact infinite powers, choosing to limit themselves to see what that would be like. Your Divine Father, who had given you absolutely everything at the moment of your creation, desired only that you have total freedom to do as you pleased. freedom that would allow you to experience fully anything you could conceive of while at the same time ensuring that no harm could come to you ever. You then chose to lose yourselves within the extremely limited environment that you had constructed, and in order to do so you had to split yourself into myriad tiny and seemingly disconnected parts. As a result you have individuality, a sense of being separate and competing life forms in an environment that is unable to support you all. Hence poverty consciousness, ambition, greed, and relentless competition for the inadequate supply of materials essential for your survival as humans on Earth have become part of that unreal and apparently very threatening environment. It is indeed a very strange game, and one that you have grown tired of, so your awakening is imminent. Those of you who are aware of God and of His infinite and eternal love for all of His divine creation are presently based within the illusion purely by your own free will and by your most loving choice to assist your deeply sleeping brothers and sisters to awaken. Continue to take time out daily, quietly at rest in your deep inner space that is eternally and unbreakably connected to your source, so that the light that embraces you at all times can grow constantly brighter, ensuring that no one can remain unaware of it. It is the light of divine love calling you all to wakefulness, and it can no longer be ignored or refused. The time for awakening is upon you. Expect ecstasy, and awaken into it. Your loving brother, Jesus.
Alright, very nice. Very nice indeed. So, let's see what our angel message is for today. Trust your own judgment. You know in your heart the action you want to take. Trust your own judgment. You know in your heart the action you want to take. Alright, close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale again. Let's imagine that we are walking down a path. And as we walk along the path, we begin to see others. And at first they don't realize that we're there. They don't see us. But as we begin to speak to them, acknowledge their presence, they in turn acknowledge us. And as we continue to walk along the path, and we see more and more individuals, as we stop to make a connection with them, we find that our communication increases each and every time. We understand that every person we connect with is another connection that we make deep within ourselves to bridge the communication that we all need to understand. And as we connect with others, we inspire them to go into the world and connect with others as well, until pretty soon the entire world is connected. Connected in our communication with each other. And as we connect in our communication, we realize the many, many similarities we have. The similarities of love, the desires for a good life, for happiness. We realize that we are all truly walking the same path, heading in the same direction. And when we come to contemplate these ideas, we realize how petty it is. The fights and the battles that we get into. But we know that these battles all have a purpose, because at the end we come to a point of better understanding ourselves, better understanding the peace that is required in the world. So let us on this day of Thanksgiving and this day of Hanukkah, let us take time out to think of the things that we are grateful for in our lives, to think about the blessings that have been poured upon us, whether great or small. Let's think about the opportunities in life that have made themselves available. And think about ways that we can be more selfless in life. Let's imagine all of our chakras are activated from the bottom of the spine up. Red at the bottom of the spine, orange at the belly button, yellow just below the rib cage, green at the heart, blue at the throat, indigo at the third eye, and violet at the crown chakra. Allow your body to fill with this light. Feel the temperature of all of this multicolored light. Allow it to spill out. Fill the room. Fill the environment where you are in. Spread out all around the world. And with this mixture, let's just send love around the world. Send love around the world as we remember the words taught to us from Jesus. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, now and forever. Let's just think about gratitude as we go forth in life. Let our subconscious mind just find all the ways to be grateful. And look at the blessings that we have. And let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. There you have it, my friends. That's it. That's our show for today. Thank you for being here. I'm extremely grateful that you come to the show on a regular basis to watch. I'm grateful of the comments that you send, the letters that you send, all the suggestions. Thank you very much. Much, much appreciated. I hope that you have a wonderful day, a wonderful Thanksgiving, a wonderful beginning to the Hanukkah season. Lots of love to you and to your friends, to your families. And let's just keep thinking good thoughts. There's lots of interesting times ahead of us. We're just getting started with this Ison. So let's look at that and let's see the spiritual value of what that has to bring and not just get caught up in the physicalness of it. There's always more to meets the eye, and there's more to the story. So let's understand the deeper part of this story. That's it. Enjoy your days. Love ya. Talk to you tomorrow. Peace. I'm out of here.